Welcome to another episode of Top Ceiling, where the ceiling is at the top. I'm your host, Wendy, and today we are outside the studios of Watchmen on the Wall. And inside we have the crew waiting for us, so let's just go in and have a quick chat. Hello everyone!
Hello.
Hi! How are you guys doing today?
We're good.
All right, so we're obviously going to act like we haven't seen each other before, and the lapels that you're wearing, you've just been wearing them the entire day.
The whole day.
Yeah, you don't know who I am. We haven't rehearsed that. That's not my jacket behind you, Dita. Our viewers are very interested in the behind the scenes of their favorite shows, so we decided to actually just set time out and talk to the crew of Watchmen on the Wall. So who are you guys?
Well, actually, we're a Family Policy Institute. Watchmen on the Wall is our media arm of the show that's on Faith Broadcasting Network.
And what do you do here?
A number of
Production
things.
secretary
Oh yeah, for Watchmen on the Wall,
Watchmen.
production secretary. So organizing whatever shoots we have, whether it's in studio or on location mostly. And then with the Family Policy Institute side, I help Errol with research, and then between myself and his wife also as his PA, so with his schedule, and then obviously the schedule of our media arm.
Yeah.
Entire team.
And it's also very interesting for us here at Top Ceiling because we are an actual show and we came here to interview people on a show. So thank you for the lights that you guys sponsored us. Thank you for those lapels that you're wearing. And these chairs are higher than the chairs that we have at studio. So I'm also just trying to, adjust myself to the whole thing. So Dita, I hear that you're the producer. You didn't tell me this. We didn't have a conversation. You just met me.
Well, Errol Knight is executive producer. Essentially what I am is my title is media manager, but what I pretty much do is sort of oversee the process of filming and then in the editing. So Mario is the offline editor. He works together with me. Henry Fisher, who you'll chat to later, works very closely with me on set in terms of the look of what we're trying to achieve in the show and all of those sort of things. So yeah, my job is kind of overseeing the whole process of the show.
Welcome back to the program. We're talking to Hetty Brits via Skype link in Pretoria. Hetty, of course, did the Family Policy Institute presentation to ICASA at the hearings in Johannesburg on the 14th of March. Hetty, welcome to Watchmen on the Wall and thank you for joining us.
Okay, now I have a better understanding of what a producer is, because I've always thought that, you have to produce something, you have to come with something. So I walked in, I looked at your workstation, I was trying to look for something tangible, but now I have a clear understanding. And you said that you work closely with Mario. So Mario, are you also on set right there on the scene when people are being interviewed?
I'm a cameraman, essentially, that's what I do. Okay, so yes, I am on set and get the content, and when it comes off the camera onto the timeline, just sitting and rough cutting everything, which is what an offline editor does.
And obviously there are some very touching stories that Watchmen on the Wall tackles, and I know that Mario gets a bit, invested in the stories. Do you guys want to sort of elaborate and just shed some light on Mario's attitude? And
it's not just
I think
Mario.
we all do. The first one, I was just prior to me joining. I joined just after episode 6, and they filmed. They went down to Victory Outreach and filmed some of the girls that were coming off the street, and their testimonies. And this is the thing I think that makes the work that we do so much very different. Is when people share these testimonies, it's like God also shows up there, and you sense God's presence, you sense God's doing a restorative work, and it's so you're not like just sort of like checking your phone and disengaged. You're very engaged, because I mean I can say on more than one occasion we've all been in tears. Many times when we do anything that we did with Victory or to do with women. And in the victories that they have found in Jesus and in the gospel, it's very, very difficult to stay disinvested in that when you're on set.
I love the fact that you've touched on the fact that the show is a Christian-based show, that it's primarily about, how Christians can impact society and impact policy. And it's called Family Family
Policy
Institute. So the institute is a bit ambiguous. Do you guys? I thought that it was an institution, like a college. Like, do you teach mothers how to be mothers, fathers children how to behave? And do you want to touch on that?
Taryn could answer that because Taryn has been with Family Policy Institute the longest.
The Watchmen on the Wall is very new. We've only been around for just 2 years.
Oh wow!
Even
Get
like,
it? Wow! Watchmen on the Wall.
Watchmen on
We
the
say that
Wall.
all.
Wow! Me,
Oh, okay. I thought I was being original, but
Sorry.
yeah, so family policy, I mean, we never even envisioned that we'd be doing any of this, that we'd have a studio, anything. We just did research. We did research on whatever issue they were dealing with, whether it was prostitution, wanting to legalize or decriminalize prostitution, or trafficking, or porn on TV, or the effects of porn to children. So we do the research, while most will basically collect all the research that's already been done and then present it to Parliament when they have the public participation available to impact the policy. So that's where that was our that's our main focus. The Watchmen on the Wall and the TV is just an extension of family policy.
The word you want to get is advocacy. You want to sound really cool. You
There
say,
you
we
go.
involved in advocacy.
There we
So
go.
when it comes to Parliament and you know, being in that type of environment as a Christian show, do you ever get some flack, some negativity here and there?
No, not really. I think we are always very well received when we go to Parliament.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We just, I think, for most, we're just another television production that's coming in to do interviews with the
Single parent families are more than two parent families at the moment, and we need to reverse that trend.
You can only reverse that trend if morality is at family level.
I think probably your trickiest interview was that one when you went to Sweat. That was probably the most tense.
I think that was
Lucia.
sweet. Yeah, we went to
What happened? We love the story.
Yeah,
Sweat is,
Lucia did that. Go on, say?
Sweat is a
Sex workers
education.
No, Sex Workers Education Advocacy Training Task
There we go.
Force.
See, that's what they did. so basically, they wanted to have prostitution legalized
Or decriminalized.
or decriminalized. Right. So that's what they tried.
That's the
push.
objective,
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
objective. And so it was quite difficult having to go to and we went to their premises, so we're on their ground, you know, and having to do an interview with them and still trying to be as objective as possible.
And while they're answering the questions and the things they're saying, because they glamorize prostitution as this, as a job, as an actual,
As a
legitimate
Yeah.
form of income, and so that's
Work
their aim.
provision,
Yeah. That's what they want. They want the face of prostitution to be changed. But you know, they're not mentioning the people, the stories, and all the stories we've heard of victims. You know, where the prostitution, where it goes from, whether it's dancing at a strip club, and they become indebted to the club because of the fee they have, because they're not actually employed with the club, so they have to pay the club, and then they get into prostitution and they can't actually face that they're actually prostituting themselves, so they get hooked on drugs, and it's a lot more than just sex work, because it's not. And while Lucia was interviewing them and things they were saying, I was standing in the background cringing. I'm like, no, they can't. Actually, at one point I called Errol. I'm like, I can't, they're saying this and this, should I ask them this? And then he was like, just let them say what they need to, you know, the public will.
I guess it opens you up to other people's actual beliefs. Like there are people out there that believe that this is right and that this is true. So a show like Watchmen on the Wall is then relevant when it comes to topics like that, to put them out there and have a discussion come up. So how does the timeline work? So you research and then what, and then what, and then what, until the final product that we see.
Actually, usually usually we don't. Errol usually gets a call or knows about an event happening and says, guys, you got this on this date. I put it on the board. Say, okay, sort out our times, when we need to be there, get a program, make sure we get a proper description of what exactly is happening. We sit down and have a production meeting about how we're going to do that.
We try to do a production meeting on a Monday. We try.
Errol, which many people won't know, gives us a greater deal of autonomy on that. He does sign off the show, but in terms we will discuss with him if we're not sure about where we want to go or the direction we want to go. Often we'll come to an event, we'll just have an event title, like let's say the God's Not Dead conference. And we don't really know what we're going to get out there. when we arrive. We have a general idea. We have a general that it's going to be about apologetic interest, and so we will know who are the key people. We'll interview them, and then we'll sort of. But what we find is that a story will develop within it. As you're kind of filming, you kind of get a feel. I think the Holy Spirit also has a large part to play in that, because what God seems to, there's like a thread that starts to connect within the show itself, and that makes it extremely exciting, because you're kind of following something, and the storytelling of it is really, really amazing to be part of that process. Sometimes very, very difficult. You have to drop things that you really, really want to keep in, but there's just not enough time to keep them all in. That's right. You'll be editing in the plane, trying to, because we have to film and edit sometimes, and then we're traveling. So we've got like pictures of Mario sitting when we went up to shoot the Pro-Life March, and he's having to work on the next show while we're doing that. Final part of that process is then Errol will come in and he'll watch the show with us. The thing that we're watching for is some of the stuff that we deal with is it's not kind of controversial, but there are legal ways of saying things. You can't just go put anything out there. We have very kind of stringent rules about hate speech and things of that sort. So you have to also familiarize yourself with those legal requirements, and a lot of what we do is got to keep that in mind. So there's certain ways of saying things that are not going to be offensive to people, and that are kind of industry standards of ways of addressing. I think a lot of people also miss that. They go out into the public space and they speak from their hearts, but they're not aware that there are these ways of saying things.
Yeah.
And if you say it in a certain way, it can be seen to be extremely offensive, and you could land up in court. So we have to be very, very careful with that as well. On certain shows, we'll even have legal advisors look at the show as well, to make sure that we are within the parameters of that. Because it's just wanting to do everything excellently, make sure that we're doing this correctly.
Wow, the life of a person behind the camera. Okay, so we're going to do this thing that we do at Top Seating. It's called a Voop. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much for joining us at Top Ceiling. Thank you for taking your time out of your office space to engage in this discussion with us at Top Ceiling. We're very interested in Watchmen on the Wall. And next episode, we'll be talking to Henry. I'm sure as you've been watching the show, you've heard Henry's name pop up here and there. So we're going to take a tour of the WOW studio together with set designer Henry. Not Humphrey. Humphrey's the producer of this show. Okay, so my name is Wendy and you've been watching Top Ceiling, where the ceiling is at the top.
From a storyboard, we'll go and conduct. Ooh, look at my telephone. That's
Can
my
you
boss.
please have it on record that his phone
boss.
just rang?
Hi, and there's my hi, Errol.
Just another day on set.
We're just on an interview with
Top Ceiling.
With Top Ceiling, they just came to interview us about Watchmen on the Wall.
So Dita is popular, as you can see.
This is my wife.
Very
I have
popular.
to take this one as well. I'm sorry. If that's okay, you can talk to them.